let me then also answer a little bit about inflation and interest rates, because there's more nonsense spoken about this topic than almost any I'm familiar with. It really is extraordinary. So let's begin. What is an inflation? All that an inflation is a period of time, that's what it measures, a period of time during which prices of goods and services are generally rising. They don't all rise by the same amount. Some of them rise, others fall. But in general, if prices are going up, that's an inflation. That's all. No mystery. Nothing complicated at all. Both governments and private entities like universities and think tanks keep track, because an inflation has consequences. That's why people are interested in them. Let me give you some examples. When inflations happen, when prices go up, people buy less because their money doesn't go as far. If the price of shoes doubles, you're not going to buy as many pairs of shoes. If the price of hamburgers goes up, you're going to take it easy on ordering hamburgers. In other words, there are consequences to the jobs and the products that get produced in an economy when prices go up. Number one. Number two, if your wages are fixed for whatever reason, you get $20 an hour, then inflation is important to you because you keep working, you keep getting your $20 an hour, but what you can buy with your $20 goes down as the prices of everything go up. So you're upset by that. So here's another one. Corporations, when prices go up, American corporations, for example, discover that they can't sell as many goods abroad as they used to. Why? Because the prices went up, and the foreign buyers say to themselves, I don't want to pay higher prices for those American goods. Maybe I can get goods from China whose prices haven't gone up. So, for example, over the last 3 years, or 2 years or 3 years, prices went up in the United States as much as 8-9% a year, as you know. Over the same period, the inflation in China was, ready, between 1 and 2%. When the president said, you know, the inflation is a worldwide phenomena, that was, I'm going to be polite now, a little wide of the truth. There are places that don't have the inflation. By the way, China wasn't the only one. Japan didn't have it either. And that means people around the world watching the inflation raise prices in the US switch and buy instead Japanese or Chinese or other people's whose prices haven't. For all those reasons, we study it. Okay, next question. Why do prices go up in the United States? Here the nonsense gets really spectacular. First of all, let's explain. Who sets prices? In other words, who makes the decision that a price will be raised or lowered or left the same? Answer: employers make those decisions. That's who sets the prices for what we buy. Employers in America are, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 million, depending on how you count. Significant major employers, much less than that, maybe 1%, if that, of the people. The vast majority of us are employees, currently counted by the US government, about half our population, 160 million. So the vast majority of us are employees who pay prices. A tiny minority of us, employers, set the prices. Aha! That means an inflation is something done by a tiny minority of us that all the rest of us, the vast majority, have to pay. Or else we starve, or we freeze, or we have no place to sleep. Nothing democratic about price setting. Price setting is done by the employer class of Americans. If you've been an employee all your life, you may have noticed the following fact. You have never been involved in any way in setting the prices of what your enterprise produces and sells. That's the employer's prerogative, not yours. All right, now, final question. Why would the employer class choose to raise prices? Well, why does the employer class do anything in its business? The answer is to make more profits. Why do I tell you that? Because that's what they say. I've taught in business schools. That's what business schools teach people to do. If you get your MBA, your Master of Business Administration, you've been through a series of courses that all have one theme in common. The point of business is to make money. The bottom line is profits. That's what you're in business for. So the answer to the question, why does the employer do anything, is always the same, because it's the most profitable course of action the employer can identify. In 2022, when we really experienced the booming inflation that we're still living with, employers made the decision that their best shot at making profits was by raising prices. 3 years earlier, they made a different decision, that their best shot at making money was by changing their supplier or by hiring a different group of workers. Employers are always making various decisions. Price setting is one of them. If they think they can make more money by raising prices, they do that. They are not there to do what's good for the working class. It doesn't occur to them. They don't hate the working class. They just assume the working class be better off than not. But that's not their job. That's somebody else's. Their job is to make money in and with their business. So they made the decision. And by the way, they seem to have made a pretty good decision. Why do I say that? Because in the year 2022 was a year in which not only prices went up, but so did profits. It worked. They made more profits, even though they had raised prices. It was a good decision that they made. The reason the stock market went down is completely different. That's because over the last 40 years, we've had the greatest run-up in stock prices of any comparable period in American history. That goes back to my talk a few minutes ago, because the last 40 years, real wages were flat, productivity per worker went up. It was a time for corporations to make a lot of money. So if you have a piece of a corporation, that's what the stock market sells, shares, pieces of a corporation, you're going to cash in. And the American stock market had boomed between 1980 and 2020. It had boomed so far that the people who specialize in investing in the stock market, the 10% of the American people who own 80% of the shares, they were very worried that the American economy had not grown the way the stock market prices had, and that it might be a good idea to do what they call take your profits, sell those shares that have gone up so nicely over the last 20, 30, 40 years, because they're about to go down. And the stock market is a place where prophecies are always self-fulfilling. If a lot of people think it's a good time to sell, they will, and that'll drive down the price. And that's why the price of shares in 2022 went down about 20%, even though the profits the companies made were going up. Happens all the time, no mystery, and don't be bamboozled by the stories of inflation. There's nothing mysterious about it. It's just another strategy corporations will deploy when that's the best profit-making activity they can engage in.